What's going on, YouTube? I hope you're having an excellent day. I'm doing great. I wanted to show you Stellaris, and specifically I want to explain a strategy that I wanted to implement in Stellaris, show you if it worked or not, and also at the same time it's a bit of criticism. I just started playing this game, and yeah, I want to let you know how I feel about it up to date. So before we begin, let me just tell you that yeah, it's going to be criticism. However, I still enjoy the game. It's great. As I'm telling you, it's a new game for me. I just started really just a few days ago. And I went for the Utopia expansion pack, along with Synthetic Dawn, along with Megacorps, because I wanted the mega structures and possibly some other things. And also Leviathan, along with Apocalypse, Distant Stars, and finally the Ancient Relics expansion. So I don't think I forgot any. There's Synthetic Dawn, I think I mentioned it already. My plan was to play a robotic race, a machine empire, and what I wanted to do was maybe replicate a little bit what the Meklar were in Master of Orion 3. So Master of Orion 3 already had this race, entirely synthetic, just robots. And you get the usual benefits, I mean, in that game, as well as in Stellaris, meaning you don't consume any food, any organic food. It's more minerals that will help you grow your population. So this is what I wanted to play in this game, and more specifically, I wanted to apply a strategy that I've used in multiple games in the past. That strategy is a very aggressive strategy, where I want to expand across the entire galaxy as quickly as possible. So I set my game up, I'm an Iron Man, I've set my game up to have only 4 opposing factions, 4 AI, along with 5 fallen empires. So we're a total of 5 player races, me plus 4 AIs, and also 5 fallen empires, along with 3 marauders. So I think there's the Great Khan or something else, maybe that's part of it. But anyway, that means we're roughly a total of 13 different civilizations. Many of them, like the fallen empires, cannot expand, they cannot build new ships. Anyway, they have severe limitations. As for the 4 AIs competing against me, I'm at the ensign level, and I gave them, all of them, a advanced start. So they had either bonus resources or research at the start of the game. So that was the setup for this game. Also, as you can see, I put the hyperlens density at full. It's an elliptical galaxy with 1,000 stars. And so the plan here was really to have a different strategy than what the game pushes you to do. It's as if the game pushes you to expand right around your homeworld, to go take the little sectors right next to it, and progressively, iteratively, gain territory, expand your borders by building starbases in those systems, and then colonize possible worlds there, and then move on to the next systems that surround it. So I feel the game pushes you a little bit to expand like a tree, really layer by layer around your homeworld. So here's my first criticism. I mean, the strategy I'm trying to do, I've seen it work in Civilization 1, 2, 3, 4. I haven't played any other Civilization games after that, but I've also seen it work. I've played it successfully in Alpha Centauri, and also in Master of Orion's 1, Master of Orion 2 and 3, along with Galactic Civilization 2 and Space Empires Deluxe 4. So I've tried, and also I should add, very importantly, I've used that strategy to great effect in Endless Legend, had a ton of fun there, and also in Endless Space, which is the equivalent of Endless Legend. It's made by the same studio, it's got the same feel, I would say, just the equivalent in space. But I was disappointed a little bit there with the Endless Space. It's really wasn't as good as Endless Legend. But anyway, my strategy to expand very aggressively in the early game has been applied in all of those games and it worked, but here it doesn't. Why does it not work here? It does not because you need to spend influence. And influence is this small resource that you see at the top. And as you can see, I'm gaining +4 every month. And there's no way to increase that. At least, not in the early game. There are technologies that you can research which will increase it. But in my game, I should mention, I haven't mentioned it, but I've set the research to be extremely expensive. This is the way I like to play it. The game has no victory conditions, meaning it's very long. This is supposed to be a very epic game, the way I like it. So because technology is so costly, I'm not going to get those technologies. And I feel that getting this little increment of +1 or +2 to my influence still won't cut it. So here's the problem I faced when applying my strategy. I had chosen to build 3 initial seeker probes. Those were science vessels sent out just to explore the galaxy, discover systems along the way where there were planets that I could colonize in the future, discover my opposing empires. So I sent out 3 of them, and one of them took damage and was teleported back to my homeworld. But anyway, following those 3 seeker probes, what I did was to send 3 colony ships after them. And it took a while for my colony ships to start from my homeworld and reach the distant star that I wanted to colonize. So you can see this colony ship still hasn't reached the distant system. But overall, I think it took it about 1,600 days to get there. So my plan was to build a colony there, another colony right here in this system that I've discovered, and another distant colony roughly somewhere around here. This is where I ended up started to build. So what I'm telling you is that you cannot do that. I was unable to fulfill my strategy and I had to abandon this game because the way I've played it up to date is just going to be abysmal. I've wasted so much time sending and spending resources here and sending a colony ship there that I really took a big step backwards when compared to my opponents. And as such, I just have abandoned this game. But here's my point, you cannot use this strategy because of influence, and because influence gets consumed when you want to build a starbase. So if I want to build my starbase here in my distant system, as you can see, I would just take my constructor and tell it to build a starbase. Right now, I can't afford it. It's 367. However, if I do that, then I will not be able to buy the other one right here. Because this one also would take me influence if I wanted to build a starbase, but as you can see, it costs the same. So by building any one of those 2, it's going to completely reduce my influence back down to near 0. And that's going to mean I'm going to have to wait a lot of turns at just +4 per month to grow back to 300 and something, so I can finally purchase my other world, which I did not select. So what I'm trying to tell you is that you're highly limited in a linear fashion by your influence. So you can go build a distant colony, but that's going to be just that one. After that, you need to wait an entire month. With my race, because I get a little bonus, you need to wait 1 month to build just one system beyond it, and then wait another month to build another system beyond it. And every time you'll be reducing your influence back down to 0. So if at any point you want to build a distant colony here, then you'd have to wait, I don't know how many months. It's at +4 per month. It's nearly 4 years, maybe 3 years and something, that you'd have to wait without building any other colony or any other starbase, in fact, before you'd be able to take this expansion. And I feel that it's kind of unnatural because building a colony or a starbase should be an influence gaining mechanism. I would expect the game to reward you in terms of influence after you've expanded. not penalize you, not push you back down to 0 influence. Now the reason that this game gives me is it tells me it represents the ability of the primary machine intelligence to divert, well, you can read the rest of the paragraph. So it's basically making sense of what influence means for my machine intelligence. And yet, all I'm asking my constructor, which is in the distant system, which has all resources it needs, all I'm asking of it is to build a starbase. So I just feel that it's not really a great machine intelligence. I mean, it could have built a starbase a few systems earlier, but not here. That's what's kind of bad. I mean, right now I have enough influence to build it here, but not enough to build it further. So that's where I find that the entire mechanic just doesn't feel realistic. On top of that, I will already be penalized by my Empire sprawl. This really seems to be a mechanic to penalize you if you overexpand, or if you're too eager, if you're too greedy, as they say in StarCraft 2. And just to touch on StarCraft 2, the game in StarCraft 2 lets you do that. It lets you take an expansion in a greedy fashion very early in the game, and it lets you take yet another expansion. But you know every time you're doing that, you're taking a risk and you could get penalized for that. Here, the game is not letting me do my strategy. My strategy at this point of the time is really, I have enough, I should be able to boom, build a colony here, boom, build another colony at the top. I already have this one that's gonna get coming, but then I should be able to pop colonies here and there at will, not be highly limited by this linear growth. So I think I've touched on everything. I'm sorry if it's a long video, if it feels like a big complaint. Finally, as I'm telling you, I've abandoned this game because it's just, I won't snowball the way I wanted to. I will not be able to have a real exponential growth curve. I will need to rethink the game and go like those enemy empires that I was going against and do a much more layer by layer expansion. Because just as a summary, what my conclusion has told me is that really, since you increase in a linear fashion, forgetting about the techs for now, there is no real advantage to skip a system. I've tested it, and if you do that, if you skip a system and go take a system that's just a few jumps away, your borders will not encompass everything in between. You'll just get two little pockets of borders. So you will still need to build other star bases in between if you plan on building colonies or harvesting the resources. So as I'm telling you, there's no advantage. You can just grow in a linear fashion, layer by layer, going progressively. There's just no way to get an advantage in that regards. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I wanted to share with you what I've discovered so far. Let me know in the comments if you agree, if you disagree, how you like this game and everything. So once again, thanks for watching. I hope you have an excellent day.